All right, so there's a couple things that we can get into today, sort of depending on where you guys are with stuff. I would like to do some code quality stuff to be able to give you some more insight into that. We can also talk about deployments. I don't know where you guys are. I assume Nathaniel and Brendan have been walking you guys through that more as you've been struggling, but I just don't know where you're at. So.
Well, me and Justin went last week. Justin deployed, I've deployed,
I just started.
and then they're starting this week.
Okay.
I'm a little delayed, so I might.
Yeah, and I'm also
Just
Also-
leftover stuff from last week. So, yeah.
with the code quality. The actual runner is like I'm not sure if it's. I think Brendan had told me to move it out, but man, it takes a long time. And
It takes
it's
a
not
long
even-
time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's yeah.
So
it
we
almost takes 10 minutes.
It almost takes 10 minutes. It's super long. It's really annoying. So what we actually did is we moved it to a stage after the deploy.
Okay.
So the
I saw
idea-
something weird, yeah.
The idea there is that you
Yeah.
get your stuff out because that's what you're trying to do. Code quality is just to help you understand. For the most part, there are some things that'll catch like bugs. But for the most part, code quality is there to help with readability, so that other people, when they go in and look at the code, they know it's okay. So it probably works fine. It just would be more readable if you made the changes that it suggests for you. So frequently, we'll just move it all the way to the end and say,
Well, what does it mean if it doesn't have? You can't find the geocode quality report JSON.
you have
run.
you probably are either missing the previous step. Would be my guess. There's there's two steps to code quality. The first one produces a code climate JSON file, which has like all of the changes that have been made and what the problems are. And the next step looks to see if the previous version of that and the new version of that have any differences.
Oh, okay, so if it like even before it said no changes, because I'm doing deployment, so I'm really not changing.
Yeah,
I might have added a space.
yeah, right. So you don't have any changes, which is fine.
So
The-
is that why that was?
Yeah, that makes sense. The other thing you want to do in code is there's a code climate YAML file that you can put in that defines a bunch of things, including what files and folders you want it to pay attention to or don't. So like we really only want to pay attention to the source, but because of the way code quality is set up and because it's running after you've done your build probably, it's looking at all the www directories, all the node modules directories, all this stuff that you don't care about, which is part of why it takes so long. So if you say only look in source, you'll get a much improved speed performance. All right. Do you guys want to look at the deployment stuff for a minute? Yeah.
I would like to. I also wouldn't be surprised if you two were sick of it by now.
Well,
I literally last Friday was miserable doing deployment stuff because I couldn't figure it out. So like if you don't have to be miserable, that's cool.
yeah.
Okay.
So
That's so
what
kind of you.
I know. I'm very
what I would suggest we do is I'm gonna put up the two files that you guys worked on,
Mhm.
and then you can tell us what it's doing, and where you don't know, I'll try to interject,
good.
and then we'll go from there. Yeah, so I guess this is one thing I was working on. And we're just gonna start from the top of the file and just explain what each of these things does, and then we'll try to give additional insight to it as well.
Okay, so mine. So
Is this the newest version?
Yeah, I think so. Is that for master? Yeah. So yeah, this one it's.
Oh, I can.
Just jump off all of it.
Oh, you want me to go up?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll screen share.
Here, let me send you a link, Sam.
Thanks, Sam.
I hope
Yep.
it's but to understand this, you need to go get the CI templates because that's So it might help to have both of them, like two separate tabs. Set templates, and then, stencil.yaml. So if you go back to the first my file, basically I came into the file and I found those first four lines and realized so Sam has the stencil.yaml. So most of what's in here is just overriding certain aspects of the stencil.yaml. So anything that's written here overrides what was written in his. So there's still two stages, build and deploy. And if you go, so I guess to his, okay.
Do you have to put those stages in there in order for them to run?
I don't think so. Do they?
So
Oh, well, I removed his verify stage, right? By not putting that there.
yeah, so let's start with. So Dane, what you did is really cool, and it's good that you understand it as well as you do.
Well, it took me a while to realize that.
Yeah.
That was,
What I would have suggested that you did is not try to include it like that, especially because even now I might recommend that you go back and not do it that way, and that's just because that's a file that we use across our system. So if we change that file to do something else, your project is going to be impacted, and you may not recognize that.
yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Isn't that
The
what
thing
you were
that-
saying?
That's what I was saying, because when I came at first I had problems, so I went to Brendan
Yeah.
and he and once I realized we're using your file, I'm like, can I just use my file and remove his? He's
Yeah.
like, no, we're just gonna override
Yeah.
Sam's part.
Well,
of Sam's
it's
file.
good.
I'm like, all right.
It's good. It's good to learn how to do that because it does make things a lot easier, and including like we use the code climate YAML that is exposed by GitLab itself, and so they have lots of those types of things, and other people have those things. And so it's nice to know how to be able to do that sort of extension. But for the purpose of you guys, I would probably recommend just doing it on your own.
Yeah, I'll go back in get my original one.
Yeah, I mean, if it's almost done, whatever, just move on to other things. But anyway, so yeah, but these includes are like advanced. Like we just figured this out a month and a half ago that you can just reference another file in your group, and all we're saying is go to this project. So under full measure, go to this particular project. Look at the release branch. Ref is a reference to the branch that we care about. And get this file from that branch and basically copy and paste the contents of that file here. Okay. Then do the same thing for this one. So we get push to release and we get code quality from those two. So if we were going to further follow this chain, we would need to go into those two to see what they're doing. Right. But they're not particularly important for the purposes of doing the deployment, so we're just going to walk past those. The stages... By default, you could not put, so you technically don't need any of these things from line 1 through 9.9. So I'm just going to walk through what these things do. Variables are environment variables. Are you guys familiar with environment variables yet? Or are those things starting to, okay.
Yeah, you call them, you have a special syntax later that you use to call them.
Yeah, so but do you know what environment variables are like more generally?
Yeah, you have them, well, sometimes you put like keys or things that or almost just statics. It starts with statics, but then you also put sometimes passwords and things like that. And basically, it's a variable